Do you feel that weight in your chest that won't let you breathe deeply? That constant tightness, as if your heart were carrying invisible stones. Today you'll discover the truth your heart has been screaming in silence, and you'll learn the exact technique. Louise Hay used to release decades of emotional pain in just 7 repetitions. Your heart doesn't just pump blood. It's the center where your capacity to love resides, to receive love, to feel joy, and to experience emotional security. And when you feel pain in this area, when you experience tightness, unexplained palpitations, or that deep sadness that seems endless, your heart is communicating something fundamental to you that you've been ignoring for too long. Louise Hay discovered in her work with thousands of people that heart problems almost always have their root in unresolved emotional conflicts, in denied love, or in the inability to forgive and let go of the past. Perhaps you've tried everything. Therapies, medications, distractions. But that pain is still there because true healing doesn't come from the outside in, but from the inside out. And in the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly what your heart is trying to tell you. And more importantly, how you can respond with love to initiate deep and lasting healing. Are you ready to finally release what has been imprisoning your heart? The first aspect you must understand is that your physical heart directly reflects the state of your emotional heart. Louise Hay observed for decades that people with heart problems are frequently those who have closed their heart to love, who have hardened their emotions out of fear of being hurt again, or who carry resentment so old they have literally calcified their capacity to feel joy. Heart problems represent long-standing emotional problems, Louise explained. Lack of joy, hardening of the heart, beliefs of tension, stress, and pressure. Think about your own life. When was the last time you allowed yourself to feel pure joy without guilt? When did you let someone truly love you without putting up barriers? Many of us have built walls around our heart, believing we're protecting ourselves from pain. But what we're really doing is imprisoning ourselves, cutting off the natural flow of love that is our deepest essence. A 52-year-old woman told me how after a painful divorce she developed cardiac arrhythmias that doctors couldn't completely control with medication. Her heart literally beat irregularly, chaotically, reflecting the emotional chaos she felt inside. She had completely closed her heart to love, convinced she would never trust anyone again. Her body was physically manifesting that disconnection, that rejection of the natural flow of love in her life. Louise Hay constantly reminded us, when we block love, when we refuse to forgive, when we live in resentment, we're literally cutting off the life supply to our heart. Love isn't just a romantic feeling. It's the fundamental energy that sustains our existence. And when we disconnect from it, our entire being suffers the consequences. Let's do this first healing exercise together. Place your right hand over your heart and your left hand on top of your right. Close your eyes and feel the beating under your palms. That beating is proof that you're alive, that you deserve love, that you are loved. Breathe deeply, and with each inhalation, imagine you're breathing pink light directly into your heart. With each exhalation, release any tension, any pain, any fear that's imprisoning that sacred space. Now repeat out loud 7 times, feeling each word. My heart beats to the rhythm of love. I am safe. I am loved. Joy flows freely through me. As you do this, allow any emotion to arise. If you feel like crying, cry. If you feel a lump in your throat, allow it. Your body is beginning to release what it has been holding for so long. Did you notice anything? Perhaps a sensation of warmth or relief or even resistance. Everything is fine. You're beginning to dialogue with your heart after a long time of ignoring its messages. And the more you practice this conscious connection, the deeper the healing you'll experience. And we'll talk about that in the next point. The second fundamental aspect is that pain in the heart is intimately related to your capacity to forgive. Louise Hay discovered that behind almost every heart problem, there's a story of lack of forgiveness, whether toward others or toward yourself. Resentment is like a poison you take hoping the other person suffers. But the one who really suffers is you, and your heart bears the worst part. Is there someone in your life you haven't been able to forgive? Perhaps a parent who wasn't present. A partner who betrayed you? A friend who disappointed you? Or maybe the most difficult person to forgive is yourself. Maybe you blame yourself for past decisions, for not being enough, for not knowing how to protect yourself. Louise Hay was clear about this. Resentment, criticism, and guilt are the most damaging patterns. Guilt always seeks punishment, and punishment creates pain. Resentment held for a long time can devour the body and become the disease we call cancer. Criticism fragments and disintegrates us. I met a woman who for 20 years carried resentment toward her sister over a family inheritance. She developed blood pressure problems that didn't respond well to medication. Her heart was literally pressured by that accumulated resentment. When she finally decided to let go, not because her sister deserved it, but because she herself deserved peace, her blood pressure began to stabilize in ways that surprised her doctors. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean allowing them to hurt you again. It doesn't mean saying what they did was okay. Forgiveness is freeing yourself from the weight of carrying that pain. It's saying, I no longer allow this to control my present. I no longer let this poison my heart. I invite you to do this liberating exercise right now. Sit comfortably and breathe deeply 3 times. In your mind, visualize the person you need to forgive, including yourself if necessary. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just visualize them however you can. Now imagine that from your heart comes a ray of pink light that envelops that person. You don't need to feel love for them. You only need the intention to let go. Repeat 7 times, feeling each word in your heart. I forgive you and I free myself. I bless you and I let you go. I choose peace in my heart. I am free and you are free. With each repetition, imagine that weight in your chest becoming a little lighter, that your heart expands a little more, that your breathing becomes deeper. If this is very difficult for you, that's okay. Forgiveness is a process, not a single event. But every time you repeat these words, even if you don't feel them completely, you're planting seeds of healing in your heart that will eventually bloom. Louise Hay used to say, when we forgive and let go, we not only free the other person, we free ourselves. Do you feel how something is changing inside you? Maybe it's subtle, barely perceptible, but your heart feels it. You're beginning to open space for love to flow again. And we'll talk about that in the next point. Before continuing, if this content is resonating with you, I invite you to like this video and share it with someone you know is carrying pain in their heart. Sometimes, sharing a message of healing is the most beautiful way to honor our own transformation process. The third essential aspect is understanding that your heart needs you to love yourself first. This is perhaps the most important and most difficult message to hear. We've grown up in a culture that teaches us to care for everyone except ourselves, to give love to everyone except our own being. And our heart deeply suffers this fundamental lack. Louise Hay dedicated her entire life to teaching a revolutionary principle. If we really want to heal ourselves, we have to love ourselves. Not as an act of selfishness, but as an act of spiritual and physical survival. When you don't love yourself, when you constantly criticize yourself, when you ignore your needs, when you demand impossible perfection from yourself, your heart receives the message that you don't deserve care, that you're not enough, that your well-being doesn't matter. Have you noticed how you talk to yourself? If your best friend were going through the same thing as you, would you say the harsh things you say to yourself? Probably not. You'd probably comfort her, support her, remind her of her value. But with yourself, you're relentless. And every harsh word, every thought of self-criticism is like a small wound in your heart that accumulates until it manifests physically. A client shared with me how for years she had completely ignored her emotional needs, always putting her husband, children, and work first. She developed what doctors called broken heart syndrome after a particularly intense, stressful event. Her heart had literally broken from years of denying herself love, care, and priority. Healing began when she finally gave herself permission to matter, to say no, to set boundaries, to dedicate time to herself. Louise Hay taught us, love is the most powerful medicine. Love heals everything. And the more love you can generate within you for yourself, the more powerful your healings are. She wasn't talking about narcissism or self-centeredness. She was talking about that compassionate, gentle, unconditional love that allows you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm doing the best I can, and that's enough. I am enough. Let's do a deeply healing exercise together. Stand in front of a mirror, if you can right now, or visualize yourself mentally. Look directly into your eyes. Yes, it may feel uncomfortable. Do it anyway. Place both hands over your heart and breathe deeply 3 times. Now, looking into your eyes, repeat 7 times with all the intention you can muster. I love and approve of myself exactly as I am. My heart deserves to be loved and cared for. I am worthy of all the love in the universe. The first times may be the most difficult. Maybe you won't believe it. Maybe you'll feel resistance or even want to cry. All those reactions are valid. They're signs of how much you've needed to hear these words. Keep repeating them. With each repetition, you're reprogramming years of conditioning that taught you to put yourself last on the priority list. Louise Hay practiced this exercise every day and attributed much of her personal healing to this simple but profound practice. When we criticize ourselves, our problems worsen. When we approve of ourselves, our problems dissolve, she explained. And she was right. Self-love isn't the destination, it's the path to healing everything else. Can you feel how your heart responds differently when you speak to it with love instead of criticism? That's the power of changing the internal narrative. And when you do it consistently, your body has no choice but to respond with health. And we'll talk about that in the next point. The fourth crucial aspect is that your heart needs you to process and release repressed emotions. Louise Hay observed that many heart diseases arise when emotions, especially sadness and pain, are systematically denied or repressed. We live in a society that tells us don't cry, be strong, don't get emotional. But every time you repress an authentic emotion, that energy gets trapped in your body and frequently lodges in your heart. Unprocessed emotional pain becomes physical pain. The tears you don't cry become toxins your body must process in other ways. The anger you don't express becomes inflammation. The sadness you deny becomes depression that literally depresses your heart's function. Repressed emotions are like a pressure cooker, Louise Hay said. Eventually, the pressure has to be released somehow, and if it doesn't find a healthy outlet, it will create an outlet through disease. When was the last time you allowed yourself to fully feel what you were feeling without judging it, without trying to fix it immediately, without distracting yourself? Many of us have learned to dissociate from our difficult emotions. We eat to not feel. We work excessively to avoid being with ourselves. We keep busy so we don't have to process the pain we carry inside. I met a woman who developed angina after her mother's death. Doctors treated her with medications, but the pain persisted. When we explored deeper, we discovered she had never allowed herself to fully cry the loss. She had been strong for her family, had organized the funeral, had consoled others, but had never taken time to feel her own pain. Her heart was physically compressed by all that unexpressed sadness. Louise Hay taught us, it's safe to feel. It's safe to express my emotions. I flow with life. When you finally give yourself permission to feel, when you let tears flow, when you allow anger to be expressed in healthy ways, when you honor your sadness instead of denying it, you're freeing your heart from an emotional prison. I invite you to do this liberating exercise right now. Sit in a place where you feel safe and won't be interrupted. Place your hands over your heart and breathe deeply. Now ask your heart, what emotion do you need me to feel and release? The first response that comes to your mind, trust it. It could be sadness, anger, fear, disappointment, whatever. Now give yourself permission to feel that emotion fully for the next few minutes. If it's sadness, cry. If it's anger, scream into a pillow or write furiously on paper. If it's fear, tremble. Allow your body to express that energy. Don't try to control or manage it, just feel it. And while you feel it, repeat 7 times. It's safe to feel. My emotions are valid. I allow myself to release what I no longer need to carry. What you're doing is incredibly brave. You're undoing years of conditioning that taught you emotions are weakness. But the truth is that the capacity to feel deeply is a strength. It's your heart reminding you that you're alive, that you're human, that you deserve to process your experience instead of just surviving it. After this exercise, you'll probably feel significant relief in your chest, as if you could breathe more deeply. That's your heart thanking you for finally listening to it. for giving it space to express what it has been containing for so long. And we'll talk about that in the next point. The fifth and final fundamental aspect is that your heart heals when you open yourself again to giving and receiving love. Louise Hay discovered that many people with heart problems have closed their heart not only to pain, but also to joy. They've decided, consciously or unconsciously, that it's safer to feel nothing than to risk feeling pain again. But by closing yourself to pain, you also close yourself to love, to connection, to joy, to everything that makes life worthwhile. The center of love is the heart, Louise Hay explained. Circulation represents the ability to feel and express emotions in positive ways. When love and joy flow freely in our lives, then our heart expands in perfect harmony. But when you build walls, when you refuse to be vulnerable, when you decide you'll never trust or love again, your heart physically contracts, hardens, loses its capacity to flow. Have you noticed how some older people have hearts so soft and open they radiate love, while others have become hard, cynical, closed? The difference isn't in how much they've suffered, but in how much they've chosen to keep loving despite the suffering. Louise Hay, who lived to 90 years old with a vibrant and loving heart, is proof that you can go through tremendous pain and still keep your heart open. A 65-year-old woman came to one of my workshops with a diagnosis of congestive heart failure. Her heart literally couldn't pump efficiently. Exploring her history, we discovered that after 3 painful divorces, she had decided love wasn't for her, that it was safer to live alone, closed, protected. Her heart had received the message and had stopped flowing, expanding, beating with the life force it needed. The healing work included, paradoxically, not closing her heart more, but opening it again. Not necessarily to a romantic relationship, but to life itself, to small joys, to the beauty of a sunset, to a child's laughter, to the company of friends, to connection with her own being. And as her emotional heart began to open, her physical heart began to strengthen. Louise Hay reminded us, "I am the power and authority in my world. I am free to love and be loved." Opening yourself again after being hurt requires immense courage. But the alternative, living with a closed heart, isn't life, it's mere survival. And your heart wasn't designed to survive, it was designed to thrive, to beat with passion, to love without restrictions. Let's do this final heart-opening exercise together. Sit comfortably and place your hands over your chest in a triangle shape, with thumbs touching and index fingers touching, creating a space over your heart. Close your eyes and visualize your heart as a closed flower, protected. Now, with each inhalation, imagine the petals of that flower beginning to open slowly, gently, without forcing. As you visualize this, repeat 7 times with total conviction. My heart is open to love. I give and receive love freely. It's safe to love. It's safe to be loved. Joy flows through me. My heart beats with the force of universal love. With each repetition, feel how your chest expands, how your breathing deepens, how warmth begins to radiate from your center. Maybe you'll feel tears, maybe you'll feel fear, maybe you'll feel resistance. All of this is normal. You're dismantling walls that took years to build. Be gentle with yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your heart won't open completely in a single session. But every time you practice this exercise, every time you choose love over fear, you're healing not only your emotional heart, but also your physical heart. Louise Hay healed her own cancer, a disease many doctors considered terminal, through self-love and forgiveness. If love has that power, imagine what it can do for your heart. Love isn't just a nice feeling, it's the most powerful healing force in the universe. And when you consciously choose to open yourself to it, you're choosing life over fear, expansion over contraction, health over disease. The journey we've taken today is the beginning of a new relationship with your heart. A relationship where you no longer ignore its messages, where you don't repress what needs to be expressed, where you give yourself permission to feel, to heal, to love again. Your heart has been waiting for this moment, this recognition, this validation that what it feels matters. As we've discovered, your physical heart reflects your emotional heart, and each symptom is an invitation to look deeper. You learned that heart pain is connected to patterns of emotional hardening and lack of joy. You understood that resentment and lack of forgiveness literally poison your heart and that releasing them is freeing yourself. You discovered that loving yourself isn't optional but essential for your heart's health. You recognized that repressed emotions become physical pain and that processing them is an act of healing. And finally, you learned that your heart strengthens when you open yourself again to giving and receiving love. The fundamental truth Louise Hay taught us is this: the point of power is always in the present moment. You can't change the past. You can't control the future. But right now, in this instant, you can choose to love your heart. You can choose to forgive. You can choose to open yourself. You can choose to heal. Every morning upon waking, before getting out of bed, place your hands over your heart and take 30 seconds to connect with it. Feel its beating. Thank it for continuing to beat, for keeping you alive, for being so resilient. And declare, my heart is healthy, strong, and open to love. Every beat is an affirmation of life. I choose joy. I choose forgiveness. I choose love. This simple morning ritual, practiced consistently, has the power to transform not only your heart health, but your entire life experience. Louise Hay practiced it religiously and lived a long, vibrant life full of love until her last days. If it worked for her, it can work for you. Now I invite you to write in the comments, I choose to listen to my heart and heal from love. This act of public declaration seals your commitment to your healing process and creates a support network with all the other people who are on this same transformation journey. If this content resonated deeply with you, if you felt it was exactly the message your heart needed to hear, I ask you to like this video and share it with someone you know is suffering pain in their heart. Sometimes, a video like this can be the catalyst someone needs to begin their own healing journey. Subscribe to this channel to receive more content about the power of your mind in creating your physical and emotional reality, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any video that can transform your life. Remember that the deepest healing is what occurs when you finally realize your heart has never been your enemy. Every irregular palpitation, every chest pain, every tightness has simply been your heart screaming, please love me. Please listen to me. Please open us to love again. And now that you've heard its message, now that you understand its language, you have the power to respond with the most powerful medicine that exists: unconditional love for yourself. Your heart is wise, your heart is strong. Your heart is capable of healing. And that power of healing, that power of transformation, has always been and will always be within you. It's time to reclaim it. It's time to use it. It's time to allow your heart to finally be free.